Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. Here are the top 10 bizarre documentaries they don't want you to see. Starting off our list at number 10, The Tinder Swindler. Okay, Peter is down. I don't have time. My enemies are coming. I need like $20,000 stat. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's pretty recent too. It's on Netflix, and I'll try not to spoil anything. But the memes are already out of control, so honestly, good luck. You probably already know what I'm talking about at this point. The Tinder Swindler is a guy named Simon Lviv. He would go on Tinder, he would date women, and then scam them. It sounds pretty bad on paper, but hearing the story told from the victims, the way it all plays out in this documentary, a movie by the way, not a series, which is bonus. It's absolutely insane. This guy was apparently hanging out with French Montana at one point as well. French Montana watched this documentary this week and then posted on his Instagram story like 2 days ago about it. The Tinder Swindler is directed by Felicity Morris. You know who doesn't want you to see this documentary? Probably Simon Lviv. And his enemies. His enemies probably don't want any of us to watch this. They're coming for us. Number 9, Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond. I was born in 1994, okay? I grew up with Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey. I'll start by saying that. If you also love Jim Carrey, don't watch this documentary. Just skip it. This is a ride, okay? Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond was released on Netflix back in 2017. It's directed by Chris Smith. Smith also produced Tiger King and the Fire Festival documentary. So yeah, buckle up, it's pretty wild. Man on the Moon was released back in 1999. It starred Jim Carrey as Andy Kaufman, Danny DeVito as George Shapiro, and the movie was a hit. Jim Carrey was nominated for Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Leading Role at the Screen Actors Guild Awards in 2000. This documentary shows what kind of nightmare it was working on that film. Jim Carrey got so into character that it was shutting production down for days at a time. Look, I respect actors that go all out. Method acting is wild. I can't even imagine the process that goes into that. But like, let other people do their job too. Don't harass the barista who woke up 17 hours ago because you're exploring your character. Number 8, Tickled. This 2016 documentary is about exactly what you think I'm gonna say. Tickling. I'll start by saying I grew up the youngest out of 3. I've been around the block when it comes to being tickled, okay? They would hold me down. My neck is a target. This spot here and here, just get out of here. I have a long neck too, so they were coming for me any time of the day. My neck was always under attack. New Zealand journalist David Ferrier makes his directorial debut with this documentary. And a lot of people can't tell if it's a mockumentary or not. It's one of those where you're like, is this real or are people just pretending? Like, what's going on? It's about competitive tickling. Need I say more? Chris, are you ticklish?
A little bit.
A little bit where?
Back.
Armpits and back. Okay, cool. Then you shouldn't watch this. Chris, you should not watch this. And if you're ticklish, you should definitely not watch this documentary. Stay safe out there. Watch those sides, necks, and back, apparently. Nice. Little do we know. Number 7, The Nightmare. If you're watching this in bed right now, I read some of these comments and a lot of you watch these videos when you can't sleep. I love it, that's awesome. I do the same thing on my phone. But this next one here on our list, you might want to turn on a nightlight or something. The Nightmare is a documentary directed by Rodney Asher, and it's all about sleep paralysis. Yeah, we love that. This documentary premiered at the 2015 Sundance Film Festival and killed it. If you don't know what sleep paralysis is, consider yourself lucky. Sleep paralysis is when a person finds themselves unable to move or speak while they're falling asleep or right when they're waking up. I've experienced it twice. It sucks. It is so scary. It's the worst thing. I was facing the wall and I couldn't move. It sounded like there was a goblin behind me going like, I was just like, it's worse. Yeah, if you live with somebody as well, sleep paralysis also sucks for them. This is where the magic happens. Yeah, cuts to 3 a.m. I'm screaming at the wall, literally frozen in fear. It sucks. So yeah, this documentary, you know, hit a weak spot for me, and maybe it'll hit you as well. Check it out. Number 6, The Perfect Bid. If you worked on the game show Price is Right back in 2008, you definitely don't want to see this documentary. Just one guy's like, I can't watch it. So specific. The Perfect Bid. Okay, the contestant that knew too much. Superfan Ted Slauson was hooked on the game show Price is Right back in the early 70s. I mean, more than fair. Young Bob Barker, I quit. Game over. Good luck. Even when he was in Happy Gilmore, like he was an older guy, but like he was still young. He was like still doing stuff. He was hot old guy. This documentary shows just how dedicated Ted was. As soon as he turned 18, Ted constantly traveled to be a contestant on the show. Although he didn't get picked most of the time, Ted would yell answers to contestants and try and help them out. He would just be there, just in the background, being like, 17! And everyone's like, how did he know that? This guy's crazy. This guy studied the show. That's how he knew. He studied the prices, and then he made some stuff happen. Perfect Bid won the Best Best Documentary at Orlando Film Festival back in 2017, director C.J. Wallace honestly nails it. My grandmother would have loved this documentary. She was always yelling numbers at the TV. Maybe she was onto something as well. Who knows? I'll call her tonight and ask with a Ouija board. It's a dark joke. Number 5, Blackfish. I bawled my eyes out watching this documentary, I'm not gonna lie, this was nuts. Blackfish was released back in 2013. It's directed by Gabriella Cabrathwaite, and it's about the beautiful killer whale named Tillicum. Tilly spent most of his life sadly in captivity at SeaWorld in Orlando, Florida. This documentary shows just how awful it is to be a killer whale. In fact, this documentary shows how awful aquariums and zoos are in general. The hard part is here, I remember seeing this exact killer whale when I was younger at this show. It was a magical day. And then as I got older, I started to ask some questions about zoos and captivity and stuff like that. This documentary, it just hits you hard, honestly. Tilly was captured in Iceland in 1983, and his life, as well as the lives of 3 SeaWorld trainers, were never the same afterwards. I knew about the incidents that occur in this documentary, like going into it, but seeing everything unfold, seeing old footage, this one honestly really hits. Number 4, Grizzly Man. Found footage documentaries are one thing, but found footage documentaries by Werner Herzog, well, you're in for something, my friend. Grizzly Man. Okay, where do I even begin? First of all, producer Chris here recommended this to me on my first week here. Believe it or not, I don't know if you remember that, but you actually recommended this. I was on Scary, I think, and you're like, you should watch this. Holy The documentary shows the grizzly bear activists Timothy Treadwell and Amy Hugengard, who were living amongst grizzly bears in Alaska. How wild is that? One year after another. It is insane. I'm not gonna spoil anything. Again, if you've somehow never heard about this or seen anything about it, that's why I'm here. Here we go. One of the craziest documentaries on the planet for sure. Timothy would record tons of footage during these summers, so even if you're not into documentaries per se, you'll still watch this and your jaw will drop. This is real life footage. Holy Number 3, Class Action Park. I grew up loving amusement parks. The tallest roller coasters in Canada are just a very short drive from me right now. That's always a fun weekend, right? But back in the day, amusement parks didn't have the same safety regulations that we have today. We have a seatbelt and a lap bar now. What? Why? Well, because of documentaries like Class Action Park, that's why. Directed by Seth Porges, this documentary explores the history of New Jersey's Action Park. Former employees and guests appear and share their take on the many incidents and injuries that took place. It's honestly really shocking. It made my heart race seeing how dangerous this park was back in the 80s and 90s. I can't believe it. Action Park was opened in 1978 and it was the first modern water park in the United States. One water slide had a loop. That's just the start, honestly. If this is really insane, watch this. Or don't. Watch it. Number 2, The Woman Who Wasn't There. This is past bizarre and just absolutely insane. This 2012 documentary, directed by Angelo J. Guglielmo, is about a woman named Tanya Head. Tanya claimed to have been on the 78th floor of the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. She claimed that her fiancé had been in the other tower and had unfortunately passed away. Obviously dark subject matter. I'm not including this saying that this is bizarre in any way. What's bizarre is this documentary slowly unraveling the truth, that is Tanya never being in the tower that day in the first place. Yeah, in fact, she wasn't even in the country. In fact, Tanya is just one of her many aliases. Don't you want to know more? Doesn't it make your blood boil already? That's horrible. The Woman Who Wasn't There. Powerful piece. Go check it out. And finally, at number 1, Don't with Cats. Have you seen Don't with Cats? If you haven't, I'm not going to spoil anything. Somehow. Let me just start by saying this. It is heavy. It shows some real footage of horrible crimes and it's blurred at parts or cuts like last second, but it's still hard to watch. Don't with Cats was released back in 2019, again on Netflix, directed by Mark Lewis, and it really shows how strangers can come together online in a positive way and hunt down a killer. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. If you somehow don't know anything about this story, it's important, especially if you're a fellow Canadian. This involves one of the most infamous crimes in Canadian history, and it couldn't have been told in a better way. Horrible events, of course, but the documentary and the storytelling here is compelling. It's gripping. Thank you so much for tuning in at Most Amazing Top 10. Those were the top 10 bizarre documentaries they don't want you to see. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters, and I'll see you next time. Peace. One of the comments said I closed a skate shop. He's like, this guy shouldn't have closed the skate shop for YouTube fame. And I'm like, I can't even skate. Joke's on you. The Tinder Swindler is directed by Felicity Morris. You know, who doesn't want you to... The Tinder Swindler... Tinder Swindler. Like, that's you guys. It's actually, have you seen this documentary?
Yeah, it sounds funny though.
It's so stupid, man. I didn't spoil anything, so... No, I'm not spoiling any of these for you, I promise. Number 8. I'm not like, and also don't do Mr. Popper's Penguins. That's just not, it's not gonna work. Said it so angrily there, I'm like, tickled. Ah. My wisps are getting in my way. If you don't know what sleep paralysis is, a lot of S's and weird. I may put on my hat for the next one because it's getting a little bit out of control. I may Ray J it and just have my hat just move around. Number 6, the perfect bid. I'm doing it. Sorry, editors. Continuity. Yeah, it's still me. Sorry, we filmed it the same day. I mean, more than fair. Young. Which one? That is, what, that's Slauson?
No, I just saw the joke coming, it was funny.
Okay, oh, you're just reading, reading ahead. Yeah, I know, right? It's fair. Anyways, I mean, more, damn it. I was like young, he's so sexy. Take a big sip off that, pour one out for grandma. I'm like, ooh, sorry. I'm like, gotta get those 60,000 views, sorry. She knows what's up. She's like, yeah, man, price is right, hit it.
Remember that, that's your first week of Central Dark, yeah?
Yeah. You're like, you should watch this. I'm like, yeah, sounds good.
Sounds great, yeah.
I watched it, I'm like, huh?